outlook, not really a market review, but weekly outlook and Q&A. So if you got any questions from over the weekend or from Friday's price action, you can put those in the chat. Obviously, we can go through those and then kind of what I'm expecting or looking for throughout the week. I was AFK this weekend, so all the DMs I'll go through tomorrow morning and hopefully get to you by then. But on a higher time frame perspective, let's come over here. Higher time frame, we've got obviously bullish order flow supporting itself. Got this daily imbalance that we're looking to be most likely filled this week, and 4-hour chart as well. Everything's still looking decently bullish as long as we can start to climb and close above this swing high, the previous weekly high. Kind of looking for continued expansion. Now, with the seasonal tendencies we talked about last week, I was expecting last week to have some sort of a retracement down to the range, preferably down to the sell side here. We never got that. I'm watching these relative equal lows that we have on NASDAQ though. And for tomorrow, I'm expecting as well that we get at least some of a run back to a previous weekly high. Anytime we have a Monday that's opening up in close proximity to that previous weekly high or previous weekly low, especially when the order flow is bullish like we're seeing here, I favor a run for a previous weekly high in this case, if it is left open. So if this is left open for tomorrow, I'm just looking for a very standard retracement to discount or IRL here, and then we'll be back at a premium, and then we can look for Fibonacci extensions if we want to. But we do have unemployment claims this week, I believe, on Thursday. Let me look at the rest of the Forex Factory here. So Thursday unemployment claims with some other stuff going on throughout the week, but no other red folder news. We have orange folder on about 3 other days. I'll screenshot this and pull it up. You can see it. Orange folder for 3 other days, and then Thursday 8:30 news unemployment claims. So it is possible that anytime we have this unemployment claims data coming out on Thursday, you have the possibility of like a difficult weekly profile. We talked about this over here when we had this challenging week, the week prior to last. Anytime, especially when you don't have any 8:30 news coming in before this, we're watching to see how Tuesday, Wednesday prints. And as from learning from the 2 weeks ago, if we were to see, or if I were to see that the internal range liquidity pools on both the 1-hour chart and the 4-hour chart starts getting purged on both sides, I'm most likely going to sit out this entire week. If Monday obviously gives us a run above that previous weekly high, and then Tuesday, Wednesday has some decent moves, and I'm really looking for it doesn't matter if it goes up or down to me. I'm just looking for stops to be left alone going into 8:30 news here, and then some sort of one-sided directional price movement. But yeah, anytime we have unemployment claims, I believe on Thursday, the day before, you don't really have any restrictions the day before. When you have like this is obviously an 8:30 red folder news, so you want to be careful the day before, but it's not like one of the ones like PPI or CPI or core retail sales or whatever it's called that we had last week. All 3 of the ones that we had last week were the ones that normally when you see them on the economic calendar the day before, you want to probably be sitting out. Now, all of these days to me have my interest in what it's going to do for the the weekly profile. If you see that consolidation going on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, starting taking those internal stops over and over, you're looking for most likely a consolidation reversal profile on Thursday, meaning we're just going to generate this sort of chop. Thursday's going to purge one side and continue going into Friday. This is normally where you want to see Friday expand and continue the range rather than the TGIF profile, but obviously letting it play out. So tomorrow I'll be looking for, on my side of it, allows me a run above the previous weekly high and it's left intact coming into the session. If we're already above there by then, I may look for a continuation play, but it could likely chop. And in terms of probabilities this week, I'm actually liking the later portion of the week. So Thursday, Friday, I'm expecting to be kind of the 2 best. And then Possibly Tuesday, Monday, and then Wednesday most likely being the worst, assuming this is kind of that weekly profile we'll see. But in terms of weekly profile, weekly order flow, daily order flow, 4-hour order flow, all not terribly hard to see bullish price action, at least for following days, especially for tomorrow. And there's not really, since we're still at all-time highs, it's a bit harder to get any bias liquidity targets. You're left with fib projecting, and that puts you up around 23,600 or so. From this last manipulation leg with the SMT, you can count that. You can look for previous ones if you wanted to use that. But this swing high, lower low, that ran out the liquidity pool with the SMT is what I'm going to be using for the projections. And I'd love to see a run above into here the first half of the week, and then maybe a return back in a discount for the 830 news driver. I'm just kind of spitballing potential opportunities that we'll get this week, and I don't really know. From this perspective, it looks like we're starting to leave that consolidation. And we talk about on stream sometimes how price action, leaves consolidation. You always know it's going to expand following it. Consolidation, it always goes from consolidation to expansion. Now, the way that it moves outside of that expansion is very important. So if we start to see order blocks hold while price is leaving the consolidation, now moving back into an expansion, very good signature that most likely the next following one is going to be a retracement versus a reversal, right? It goes consolidation to expansion, expansion to retracement or reversal, blah, 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 blah. So the only two ways that price normally will leave a consolidation period is either it will come back and return to consequent encroachment of that, basically equilibrium of that consolidation range. There'll be an order block there. It'll tag that, start to expand, and obviously continue to expand up and up. You look for retracements in here. Or it will leave that consolidation, purge the external range, and then start to reverse back the other way. So as of right now, we don't have that energetic run up on the high and then an energetic run back down and forming like a BPR or an inversion gap or something. You can start to see, at least on the 1 hour chart, on the 15-minute chart, you probably could look at it as well. Energetic spike back into the range. There's not a lot of value gaps or anything forming within this leg. And obviously we're filled a gap here, took out the swing low, and now we're retracing, taking out that intermediate term high again. It's not the best intermediate term high, but the order flow coming into it for the most part looks bullish. So I'm assuming it's going to be more of this as long as we can continue to get that. I do not think it's going to be an expansion week. So letting the first week play out, or the first half of the week play out, is probably the best opportunity, I would say, for most people to look at studying Thursday, Friday of this week. Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday will most likely skip. Tuesday, Monday, you're gonna have to play very safe. I'm looking probably for session move at the most, no daily moves on Monday or Tuesday, just session moves, maybe some scalps here and there, but that's really it. Friday's price action was covered in the tape reading stream. I'm sorry, not tape reading stream. I was AFK from Thursday's stream. That was the highest quality one. But we had 10 a.m. news on Friday. I'm not going to go too much in depth about this, but anytime you have 10 a.m. news, the protocol for entry is obviously Silver Bullet is going to be the highest quality one, and normally the one that you can see the clearest following the 10 a.m. news driver. Anytime you have 10 a.m. news, you just kind of rely on Silver Bullet. You can get it in earlier. I'd favor if 930 has a very clean reversal to then find a 10 a.m. expansion. In this case, I was watching it on the plane. I took a very small short that got stopped out in about like a trimmed stop. It was not break even or anything. It's just a trimmed stop. So anytime I'm trading the Silver Bullet time, I want to be trading the Silver Bullet model. There was a missed entry that I should have executed on. But unfortunately, I was sleeping. This is the one I would have liked in hindsight. Nice order block from the 10 a.m. news and efficiency trading back up into it during macro time. I would have liked that one. I didn't see that one at the time. Instead, I got in off of this one. And I was shooting for then I got in at 10:23 here, basically on the retracement. You lose a 15-minute 15-second breaker with inefficiency on the 1023 candle. So enter here. Stop was about here. So I remember getting stopped on this 1045. If you want to see the screenshot, I'll share it tomorrow. But then I was looking for to take profit on the -2 here. And then as 1026 had dropped down, formed the low, came back up. 1029 started to drop down. I moved my take profit from the -2 up to this swing low, assuming that 1030 was going to make the new low of the session and potentially low of the day. And then I got retraced on and eventually stopped out here at 1044. So it was not a bad trade. Still, it was still a high quality trade in my eyes. Just unfortunate price action that we got pretty close to it and never formed that swing low and then came back out. It was maybe a 2-to-1, so nothing crazy. But in hindsight, I would have liked this a little bit better if I was not sleeping. This one still is not terrible. Just wasn't able to fill out the swing low that I was personally looking for. As a result, though, it did drop back down into lunch and then kind of consolidate. And this is all within the TGIF range of the entire weekly range, if you want to see that. So basically, right textbook back right into that gap, into the order block inside the -2. Sorry, 0.2, 0.3. So kind of standard. I was looking for a bullish price action on Friday, but ran up, took out the London high, started to drop down, and once the 10 a.m. news started trading back lower as well. I think it wasn't too hard to see. It was an ERL back to an IRL move, lining up with the 0.2, 0.3. So that's what I was shooting for with that scalp. But yeah, I don't got too much to yap about. I just wanted to hop on here since I said we would have a stream on Sunday. See if you have any questions, you can put those up. But tomorrow, streams this week will be mostly Thursday, Friday. May do one tomorrow. We'll see. But then Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm most likely going to be either sitting out or not doing a stream because I don't expect it to be super good. But we'll play it by sight. It looks good. Price action is not too funky. Then I'm fine with streaming. Otherwise, take it slower this week. As I want to try and squeeze out as much as I can. These following days of July as we get into August. August is notoriously harder PA. It's not untradeable. It's not the end of the world. It's just, to be honest, this is actually what you normally see in August. All of this, and even in June, what you saw in June. That's normally the price action you see in August. So the fact that we're getting it now doesn't really mean anything specifically about the month of August and what the price action is going to entail. But it's good training. It's good prepping that we've had for the past couple of weeks on and off of dealing with consolidation conditions and the patience, especially of only looking for one move per week to potentially play out in a very precise manner has made it so you're probably a bit more conditioned going into those harder months. If you don't find a setup for 2 or 3 days consistently, you're not going to worry as much as maybe someone who's new coming into August PA if you haven't traded it before. August and December are the two hardest months in my take. August typically will consolidate. December is resetting the yearly range, both of which December I think is actually the worst, but that's from my own experience. So just trying to squeeze out as much as I can going into August, and then on NFP week, probably just trading 1 day of NFP week on August, and then the rest of the weeks being very, very safe. But yeah, if you look at the seasonal tendencies chart, we do have a slight retracement occasionally occurring during mid-July. If we don't get that, it's not the end of the world. But that's why last week I was bearish coming into Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday we flipped and went back long. All right. I got potentially some more, maybe either a video or a topic that we wanted to cover last week. I might make a video about that or just a stream, and we'll do that and host that sometime this week. And then, yeah, normal schedule for the most part. We'll try and focus a bit more on seasonal. Could be off by 1 month. Yeah, that's what it looks like with the reset of, I don't know, what could be Trump. Who knows? who knows? Who knows? But yeah, we'll have to see. I'm not. I don't know. I've been conditioned by this price action for the past couple of months, just not to demand anything. Take it day by day. It's a good not recommendation, but reminder not to have. I like making these weekly outlooks. This one's not as clear as it was last week for me to make a bit more of a in-depth prediction. I do want to see Monday and Tuesday's price action play out to give me a better range. But weekly profiles are great and all, but you still have to try the price action as it is. And that was kind of a good reminder last Thursday of I had a weekly profile I had in mind. It doesn't want to show me that it wants to do that specifically. So adjusting on the fly and being flexible with your bias and with your entries is a very important skill to learn and master as you are finding more and more opportunities that may be misaligned with your original bias in the morning and things of that nature, especially with entries, right? Entries you want this PDRA may give you a different one in discount that's still there, and kind of making that adjustment on the fly is part of the decision making process. Making a well informed decision quickly and without remorse, and not trying to go back on what that original decision would be. So same exact thing for me, like flipping a bias. I normally have, if I'm trying to get the session range, I'm only really allowed to flip bias one time. If I do flip bias and then I'm like, oh, actually, I can see it the other way again, I most likely can't read the price action. So it's better if I just sit out for the day and wait for another day to roll around and capitalize on that. But yeah, like I said, I don't got too much to yap about. I just wanted to hop on and see if there's any major questions or anything that happened. Obviously, not a huge new week opening gap either for the week. A very tiny one. So tomorrow, expecting a run up above here if it allows me one. Otherwise, just taking it slow until we get to Thursday. All right, so it was recorded. If you want to go back in and watch it, I don't think there's too much to come back on. I think I owe some people recordings. So if I've not sent you a recording before I left, I will send it to you if you happen to watch this video, if you're sitting in stream tomorrow as I go through the DMs again. All right, so take care this evening if you are in somewhere where it is nighttime. Otherwise, good morning, good afternoon to those who watch this later. So get some well-needed rest from the weekend, and we will hop back in later this week. Sound good? So take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.